Hello everyone, welcome to Topper IS, and we'll be seeing few of the important current affairs that were part of your Hindu newspaper on 18th May 2021. Okay, uh, so let's start then. So the first one is we see the editorial which says unwarranted arrest. So it is mainly talking about the blatant misuse of sedition clause. That is a cause of concern. So what is this sedition law? The immediate question comes to the mind. So sedition law is a meaning of it is, some those acts which are inciting people to rebel against the authority of the state. Okay. So that is defined under section 124A of the IPC, which points out that any word spoken, written or sign, which is bringing, hatred or contempt that might spread disaffection towards the established government. So government of the day, if you are saying something, doing something that will incite people to rebel against the government of the day, so that will be qualified to be called as a sedition. So that if you perform such acts, they will be you will be that is considered as an offense. Okay. So going to historical background, sedition law was drafted by Thomas Macaulay, the same person who was heading Law Commission of 1833, and this became part of IPC in 1870. So again and again, section 124A will be in use. So the from the prelims point of view, straight away you can be asked a question: what is section 124A of IPC deals with? Straight question can be asked, and main crux and other the issue also might be asked, like the main issue with section 124A is freedom of speech and expression versus security of the state. So see, state has a n number of functions: maintaining public order, security, authority uh, in the state. So whether in order to perform that, are you infringing on the freedom of speech and expression of the people? So this is also one point of debate when you come across when you read the newspaper. So from prelims point of view, remember section 124A, and main issue is with freedom of speech versus reasonable restrictions, of public order and all. So that is the crux of the issue. And historical background issued through Thomas Macaulay. And one more thing was, historically, as a part of, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahatma Gandhiji were also tried under sedition law. That you should remember. So we have one MCQ here. Which among the following statement about section 124 of the Indian Penal Code is correct? So that is nothing but sedition law. So first statement is Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Mahatma Gandhiji were tried under the sedition law. This is correct. Sedition law is a colonial period law. Correct. 1870, as I said. Section 124 is a reasonable restriction on the freedom of speech and expression. Very true. Why? Because I said you have freedom of speech and expression under Article 19. At the same time, 19(2) talks about reasonable restrictions on freedom of speech and expression. So what are all the reasonable restrictions on freedom of speech and expression? So public order is a reasonable restriction. Okay. And security of the state is a reasonable restriction on the freedom of speech and expression. So so on the same lines, so security is there. So you want to protect the state, or you want to maintain public order in the society, that is a function of a state. So for that to happen, you impose reasonable restrictions. So you arrest people who are spreading hatred. Moment they incite violence, that is going to disturb the public order, right? So that is why you are using 124A as a means to achieve the end purpose of public order. So that is why 124A is a reasonable restriction on freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so statement 3 is also right. And fourth one says section 124A has been struck down by the Supreme Court. This is not right. See, there it has not been struck down. Rather, Supreme Court in Kedarnath Singh case has upheld the constitutional validity of 124A. So it is present. It is not struck down. Supreme Court said that it is a reasonable restriction on freedom of speech and expression. Got the point? So we'll go to next important point. So the what was in news is, Bengal, West Bengal to form a legislative council. So there has been bill uh, for setting up. It was introduced and passed in the assembly. So what is the thing is, West Bengal want to form a new legislative council. So for setting up a council, a bill has to be passed in the assembly, and it has to get the consent of the governor. So before this, West Bengal had bicameral legislature till 1969, but it was dissolved later. So what is, again, from the prelims point of view, what is bicameral legislature? You should know the basic meaning is, it is a practice of having two houses. Like, see, you have Lok Sabha, you have Rajya Sabha. At the state level, you have Vidhan Sabha and Vidhana Parishad. So there are two houses, right? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha at the center. At the state, you have Vidhan Sabha and Vidhana Parishad. So this practice of having two houses, we call it as a bicameral legislature. Okay. So see, this legislative council has been in news because, see, if you remember, Andhra Pradesh, state of Andhra Pradesh has already passed a resolution for the abolition of legislative council. Abolition of legislative council. So that's why it is in news. And now you see West Bengal wants to create a legislative council. So again, it is in news. So few of the important things you should know or remember from the exam point of view. So as of now, only 6 states in India have bicameral legislature. Rest of them have just a single house, legislative assembly. So which are those 6 states? Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. So Andhra Pradesh, I told you, has already passed a resolution to abolish legislative council. And West Bengal now wants to create. So keep track of these all current affairs. And one of the character of legislative council is that its members should not be more than 1/3 of the membership of the state legislative assembly. So suppose if it is 240 legislative assembly member strength is, so it should not be more than 80 legislative council strength. So this is what this point is. At the same time, the size cannot be less than 40 members. That also you should keep in mind. And some of the features are similar to Rajya Sabha, like a tenure of a member of legislative council is 6 years. 1/3 of members of legislative council retired after every 2 years. So some parallels you can draw with the Rajya Sabha. And one key important thing you should remember is, proposals for the abolition and re-establishment of the state legislative council require confirmation by the Parliament of India. So that's what the article, under Article 169, Parliament by law create or abolish second chamber in the state if the legislative assembly of the state passes a resolution to that effect by a special majority. So I told you Andhra Pradesh has already passed a resolution by special majority, but still Legislative Council of Andhra Pradesh has not been abolished. Why? So ultimate confirmation has to be given by the Parliament. So that's what power is given under Article 169. Parliament may create by law or abolish the second chamber in the state. So remember Article 169, ultimate confirmation, number of states having bicameral legislature, and keep track of these current trends. And remember, we should also go through the manner of election of Rajya Sabha members. Okay. So coming to next, some MCQ is there. Which among the following statement is correct? Correct statement they are asking. Correct. Currently, there are 7 Indian states having bicameral legislature. So this is wrong. We have seen this is 6. Members of legislative councils are directly elected by the people. No, they are indirectly elected. Go through it. Constitution empowers state government to create or abolish legislative councils. So this is wrong. Legislative councils are a kind of replica of Rajya Sabha at the state level. True. So indirect way of election. That is you see the parallels. So term and retiring every 2 years, 1/3 of members. So these you see a kind of similarity between Rajya Sabha and council. So that's what, pick the correct statement. So D is the correct statement. Okay. So let's go to another next article. So the important was heading was like appoint election commission of India members via collogium. Collogium. So what, there is a petition filed in Supreme Court seeking that you have to constitute an independent collogium to appoint members of Election Commission of India. So what it's, again the petition says, practice of government making appointments to the poll body was a violation of basic structure of the constitution. And it says recommendations to have a neutral collogium to fill up vacancies in the ECI has been given by several expert committees since 1975. So what is this neutral appointments, collogium and all? What is the issue? Basic structure of constitution. See, you see, Election Commission of India is a constitutional body. So what is its main function is to conduct free and fair elections. Free and fair in the sense there should not be any coercion. Elections have to be free. Fair in the sense it should not be in a such a way that it benefits a particular ruling party. Rather, it should give equal opportunity to all parties and see that there is lesser amount of money play and all those things. So election has to be free and fair elections. This is the main function of the Election Commission of India as a constitutional body. Okay, under Article 324. But see, as of now, President is appointing Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. So President is appointing is nothing but he is appointing on the recommendations of Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. So that's what in previous slides we have seen that as of now, practice of government is making the appointments. So what they are saying, it's a violation of basic structure of the constitution. How? See, I said free and fair elections is the objective that Election Commission of India has to ensure. But moment these people, Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners are appointed by the government, there is a chance of them being influenced. So members of Election Commission can be influenced because they are appointed by these people, people who are running the government. So there are tendency that this might obstruct free and fair elections because they might get influenced by the ruling party, and that might take steps which may favor the government of the day in various elections. Okay, so that's why the petition has been filed, that rather than government appointing the Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners, the appointment should be based on a collogium, an independent collogium. So collogium is a group of members. So group of members which are independent, free from the government, should be there to appoint members of Election Commission of India. So this will help to ensure free and fair elections in the nation. So that's what the petition has been filed. So also remember, with respect to judiciary, we have collegium. That also you should know. So main thing you should remember, as of now, President appoints the Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners. That is nothing but based on the recommendations of Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. So that you remember. And one more thing is free and fair elections. So the one term was basic structure of constitution. See, you will come across basic structure of the constitution. These are certain fundamentals which are part of our constitution, which cannot be changed. So certain fundamentals which cannot be changed, that represent the very spirit of the constitution. So one such part of basic structure is free and fair elections. So free and fair election has to be there to ensure democratic system in the country. So that's so this is ensured by Election Commission of India. So that's why you should take care that there is an independent collegium rather than government appointing the members of Election Commission of India, is what the petition is asking for. So remember that apart from analysis, remember free and fair election is part of basic structure of the constitution, and main objective of Election Commission of India is to conduct free and fair elections. Okay, some few things like they have a tenure of 6 years, 65 years, whichever is earlier, and status and receive salary and perks available to judges of Supreme Court of India. So go through, we will see one MCQ. Choose the correct statement among the following. Election Commission of India is a statutory body. So this is a wrong statement. Question is asking correct statement. Free and fair election is a part of basic structure of the constitution. Yes, this is true. So answer is 2 only. Remember, basic structure is nothing but there are certain fundamentals which cannot be taken away from the constitution. So free and fair election is one such part. Okay. And we'll go to next one. There is one thing with respect to creation of a district. Punjab has declared creating a new district in the state. So apart from going to the very specific of which district and Punjab, those things, what is important for us is we should know basic thing like how our new districts carved. So the power to create new districts or alter anything that is with respect to a district or abolish existing districts, these power lies with the state government, remember, and they do this either with executive order or by passing a law. So power to create a new districts, alter the districts or abolish the districts lies with the state government. They do it by passing a law or executive order. Center has no role to play here and state are free to decide. Only central role comes only when they want to change the name of a district or a railway station. So apart from that, ultimate power lies with the state government while creating new districts. Okay. So some trend has been noted. See, as of 2011 census, there were just 593 districts. 46 districts were added actually from 2001 to 10, and now still 2011's 21 census is yet to happen. But as of there is a No India website run by Government of India. Currently, according to that, currently there are 718 districts in the country. So this is one few thing. Just as a additional point, remember like districts creation and alteration all lies with the state government. They do it with the executive order or laws. So you can draw one parallel also if you see parallel with the power of parliament under Article 2 and 3. So what Article 2 and 3 deals with? So 2 and 3 deals with creation. 2 is with respect to admission or creation of new states, and 3 is with respect to alteration with the changes in the existing states. So these are the things. So what, according to the constitution, only parliament has the power to deal with this. Only parliament can create new states. Only parliament can make changes in the states, like altering the area, changing the names and all those things. The power lies entirely with the parliament. State has no power. So, and state can parliament can do this even if the state is is not providing a consent. There is a procedure how this is done. You refer the textbook, but remember the parallels 2 and 3. So that's why without the consent of state also parliament can do this. That's why it is said parliament can redraw the political map of India. So there is no security for the continued existence of a state within India, because parliament can at any time create new states or abolish the states as well. So that's why we say there is a term called indestructible union with destructible states. So continued existence of states is not guaranteed, but union remains always. So that is why indestructible of destructible states. So some parallels we tried to link it. You can go in detail with the textbook, go through the with respect to procedure as well. Okay. So one MCQ we will see. The question is asking, choose the incorrect statement. So parliament has the authority to create or alter area of a state. True. Article 2 and 3. State legislature has the authority to create district within a state. True. Parliament can create state only after state legislative assembly gives its consent. So this is wrong. So even if state assembly does not give consent, parliament can create. So statement 3 is incorrect. So it is asking incorrect statement. So this is also right statement. Center has no role to play in the alteration of districts or creation of new ones. Remember this. So these are few articles that were important in today's newspaper from the prelims point of view. Okay. So thanks for listening. You can always download these PDFs in the link that is provided below. And thanks for listening. Have a good day. Thank you.